Tatiana's getting massive buzz, winning the Critics' Choice Award. What do you think her chances are of getting an Emmy nod out of that?
Oh, well, you know, right?
You haven't seen it?
Oh, I'm seeing it. Has she?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
did she?
didn't get it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the scandal.
Which is-
It is a scandal. What are your thoughts on that? Like the whole thing, they sort of have an anti-sci-fi thing.
I don't know. I guess we don't really consider it a scandal. We're really a scandal.
We're probably a group in the Scandal Ballet now, something like that.
Yeah, I love that. You know, we were really happy to be in the conversation, and the fact, you know, that it's a snub. It's people are talking about the snub. It's great. It's good for the show, and it's our first year.
Yeah,
We're not that surprised, really. So
I don't know. I certainly, I think that it's just cool that we're, you know, our little wacky sci-fi show is kind of even being considered with all these other really cool shows, like, you know, like Mad Men and Breaking Bad and all these shows that we really love, and so we're just kind of excited that people like us enough to be outraged.
Right.
You know, all these people like, we're outraged, and we're like, wow, that's really awesome.
But you know what?
People are outraged.
One of the really cool things about that, though, and you're totally true, because obviously social media has like blown this thing open wide.
Yeah.
But what I love seeing is following the Orphan Black official Twitter account is like almost every day they're retweeting some other famous person, whether it's like big names, you know, the writers, the directors, the actors who are just like, oh my God, Tatiana's great, this show is great, and those people get to their followers, and it has to be pretty amazing for you guys to know that, you know, you've got what you've got out there for promotion, but it's just doing itself. The wave is carrying it.
For a show that barely got made, like we barely got this show made. Like nobody wanted to make this show. And it's just a little tiny show. It's not like a big budget. It's a little tiny show. It's really phenomenal. It's this unbelievable thing that's happened, you know. And part of it's just having a cool concept and a lot of love and passion, and then the other part of it's Tatiana.
you can't. You no matter what happens, you know, you can't take away what she managed to pull off for us, and it's great that these really like exceptional creative people are recognizing what it took for her to pull that off so seamlessly.
Great. So now what's next on the horizon? What's coming up for season 2?
Like we're gonna tell you. We're gonna tell you that.
Oh, you can hint. You can give us some ideas.
We want a number of clones.
Yes.
Clones. You think there might be some clones next season?
Well, we're a clone show, and we've really loved developing the different characters with Tat. And it's safe to say that you know, as a clone show, we'd love to meet another new clone, but we don't take our clones lightly.
Yeah.
We work hard to create an interesting character. We don't want to line them up and knock them down. That's not what that's not what that's not the way we treat the concept of cloning. So I mean, you know, I think it's safe to say we'd love to meet a new clone next year.
Well, plus you just can't get enough of the girl, right?
That's right.
You just want to see the girl do more stuff, right? Because she's got mad talents, right? She's got this sort of mad talents. So we want to see her spread her wings more in season 2, and yeah, it's I think that for us, I think that the mystery and the conspiracy is a really important part of the plot, but we've always been super invested in our characters and the relationships between them, and it's part of really the thing that made the show exciting for us as a creative you know, as a concept, but from a creative point of view, is that that one actor would play all these different parts. So it was really important that these parts were like really like dense and layered and had really interesting backstories, and then created really complex relationships with each other, you know. And that's you know, and whatever you can say, Allison's the soccer mom, but there's so many other aspects to that, to her, that you know, that and then you got Tatiana, who breathes life into the characters and into the writing. It's great.
We really enjoyed, like, for instance, unpacking a character like Allison this year. We've got more unpacking to do on the characters that we have.
She's a gas.
She's awesome.
She's great.
She's a gas.
And, I think too, for season 2, it's probably safe to say that, Kira is missing at the end of season 1. We're not going to, like, skip ahead a year and find Sarah, like, leaning against the bar crying in her whiskey.
Right, yeah.
We're going to hit the ground, and she's going to be running. She's got a lot of people after her, and she's got, her heart is missing.
Now, how did you, I know you did the casting process, obviously, and Tatya came in and stole it, but when you were writing this, or when you were developing this in your mind, of thinking, okay, clones, we obviously aren't going to use CG for this, to create a different person. We need to find talent who can do this and pull this off.
Yeah.
Did you think you'd be able to find someone when you did, or did you think this is just going to be impossible? Who's the next Meryl Streep?
Well, I think we were both nervous about it. Like, I think we were both like really excited about it, but then nervous about it as well, because you know that you make a mistake casting this and you're kind of done, right? It's done. It just becomes a joke, and we didn't, so we just worked really hard casting it.
Every once in a while, though, in developing the show, we just look at each other and go, "Oh my God, what have we got?" It's really a production kind of nightmare. The bottom line is there was no show if we couldn't find a performer that everybody agreed on. Our producers at Temple Street in Toronto, and both our networks.
Yeah.
We all had to agree, and by the end of that audition process, it was clear cut. There was no dissenting. We all agreed that this is the girl we move forward on. And then we moved forward, and she continued to knock our socks off during the process.
Yeah.
And we realized how far we could go with her talent, and in the process, just about. Like, she worked so bloody hard. So bloody hard.
I had cast her in the sequel to a feature film that I made called Ginger Snaps. Mm-hmm. So she was in Ginger Snaps too, and I met her when she was 17 or 18, something like that. And she was super talented, like playing this wacky, weird little, character who turned out to be a killer psycho girl with braces. And so we had known each other for a long time, and so I was aware of Tat and how skilled she was, but it was interesting because your head's down in the show and you're just doing that the whole time. And I knew the clone scenes were working. Like, I could see them working. I was in the edit suite. I was sat with, in all the various directors that would come in doing different scenes. And going, wow, this is really working. Like, this is actually, because I actually did, things you worry about when you haven't done it before. You go, are people just going to go, it's the same actor playing two different parts, or are they just going to get sucked into it? And you get sucked into it.
Oh, completely.
I was getting sucked into it, and I shot the stuff, right? And then by episode 9, I started realizing I hadn't really, you don't think about, like, how, I wasn't even thinking about how people were going to respond to it at all. By episode 9, I started going, oh my God, she's going to win awards for this.
Yeah.
I really thought that, because episode 9 is one of my favorite episodes for Tat, because there's so many complex emotional beats going on and interactions between the girls that it's very, like, it's really woven tightly, and she's in every single scene, talking to herself or... it's wild.
Yeah, can you talk about those scenes shot with the, we saw a little bit about on the DVD, and then some in the magazines they talked about, using the doubles and scenes. Can you talk about those scenes, like you start with one character obviously, and then you have to shoot each character individually, and how does that process go about, and how long does it take?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, it's a little technical, but I'll try and explain it as briefly or succinctly as I can. Essentially, when you shoot a scene, you would get your actors together and you block the scene, which means that you figure out where everyone's going to sit and talk and where they're going to move and who's going to come and go when, and work out the rhythm of the dialogue and and then figure out how you're going to shoot it. So where the cameras are going to go, and we're going to shoot a wide shot here, we're going to get a 3-shot, and then we're going to come around here, and we're going to shoot a single, the process. So, but it's a bit different when one actor's playing all of the parts. We start with our main Tat's main acting double is a woman by the name of Catherine Alexander, who is an unbelievably talented girl who has a completely thankless job because she never gets seen. Yeah. She gets seen sort of. If you see too much of her, we can't. We can't use her.
She's acting. She's not doubling. She's acting.
She's fully acting, and she's picked up like lots of Tat's mannerisms, and her and Tat ended up working really well together, which was really important. So she's there generally. If there's a third one, if there's a third girl, of course that's just a whole other. Because I shot the wine pour scene.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So that was
amazing.
In that scene, I think she started the day as Sarah, and Catherine started as Allison, and the second double started as Cosima probably, and we would block the scenes. We basically with a system called the Techno Dolly that repeats its actions. It's a camera system where you shoot it like a normal shot. The crew does it like a normal shot, and then it memorizes the. You go, okay, that's our take. We love that take of it, and the camera saves that camera move. And then you take the dialogue from that. We've shot all 3 girls. You take the dialogue from that and you edit out Tat's dialogue. So now you only have the two other girls, and Tat takes an earpiece and basically goes through all her marks with no one else on set. So if I'm looking at you, well, I move you and I put a mark on the wall, right? So she has to know when she has to repeat all her actions, and just instead of looking at you, I'm looking at a mark on the wall. And sometimes you look around the set, there would be like 13, 14, 20 different marks all over on C-stands on the wall, and she has to kind of like get all these like eye lines, because if I move over here, this eye line over here is different than this eye line over here. Right. It's very, like, for her, it's incredibly technical, and the fact that she can pull it off is unbelievable. And then you just build the shots in layers, one character after another.
So what happens is when you're actually watching, when she gets into the hair and makeup and wardrobe of the second character, on the monitor you're watching a composite image. So by that time we're watching Tatiana act against Tatiana, and we can see whether she puts her hand through her own head.
That's tricky, because there was I tried to in the season finale. I really wanted to push it as much as I could and try and create these like little elaborate, because I'm a bit of a geek that way, and I really wanted to make, because so there's a shot where Sarah gets up out of a chair, the camera tracks her to the door, she opens the door, Cosima's there, Cosima steps in, and they kind of rotate around each other and then end up talking, and I had to cut, I wanted to see if I could get the hug working, and I had to cut just before they actually cut. But that's tricky, because it's like you have to make sure that they're not in each other's space, because they're not together on camera. You have to make sure that they're, so you have this composite.
And yet they can cross, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I have to say, whoever your dialect coach is fantastic, because I had absolutely no idea that Jordan and that Tatiana, I knew it was a Canadian production, but I didn't realize that they were, Canadian.
Well, that's partly him, but that's also kind of the mad skills of the actors, right? It's like the fact that people are blown away that Jordan doesn't have an accent. The weirdest thing too is that both of them come to set, like he comes to set speaking British. Honestly, all season long, even at lunch, right? So anytime, I'd only heard him speak without the British accent, I don't know, a few times. It's so weird. And then you go, I've been with you all season. It's British, and suddenly you're speaking with this weird American accent. That's kind of tricky.
You're like, oh, knock off the American accent, come on.
and Tat's the same. I mean, she's a little bit methody, not in a weird or a flaky way at all. How else is she going to keep those characters straight?
She has to keep them
when she's going to switch during the day, how does she show? So it's really fun. Days, depending on who she is, the set, the mood around the set is different. if she's Allison, she's very tight and she's
You
taking
gotta
direction
see
and saying yes.
if you get a chance to interview, make her do like what? How do you what would you physically do to prepare for these characters? It's hilarious watching her off in the corner.
We're gonna see her at the Orphan the Nerd HQ thing after this.
Yeah,
She
she's got weird
she
little
does her
dances
Casima
and like
dance,
little.
her Casima dances all that.
You know in episode 4 when she's sitting on the couch and they're talking about I was in Steel Magnolias. She's with Allison and Felix. She's talking about she's kind of going. That's so taboo, right? That's what she does, right?
That's great.
And then like if Helena's around the set, everybody's like, whoa.
Well, yeah.
Because she
She
just
talks
like
nice loud.
she's got the
She comes up all creepy and
Comes up
like
all
you have to
creepy.
you have to direct her.
watches the monitor like she's never seen one before.
I love it. And with Helena finally biting the bullet at the end, you knew she was kind of crazy and misguided in that sense, but you were kind of sad to see her go.
Yeah.
It was so. What was that like writing that?
Sad to
finale?
see the little monster go.
Yeah.
But
But that's what
we
was.
knew she was going to get shot through the heart. Almost, right? We knew that from
Always.
very early.
But one of the things that we really wanted to do, the challenge for us was that we wanted to take essentially what was a killer, assassin, serial killer at the beginning, someone who was scary, and then make that character sympathetic somehow.
It worked.
So
Kat
that was
took that character miles. She was the. I mean, we knew we wanted to do that with character, and then there was a point where she was in the writers' room at some point, and she told us that she thought Helena operated from a place of love, not hate. And for us, that was a light bulb for us, and we immediately were like, that's how we continue to turn this character. Is that he loves Sarah. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know how. Right?
It's instinctive
Yeah.
for that character. Now, we've all talked
It's
about
genetic.
Tatiana. Exactly.
It's what it is.
But we've all talked about Tatiana, how amazing she is, how much work she puts in. My thought is that poor girl, I hope she doesn't burn out after season 2. I mean, these have to be she's young and has the energy, bless her heart.
Yeah,
but I mean,
God.
how do you see this being sustainable for a long time, considering?
Well, you mean from her point of view, just being able to manage all the.
The demands that are put on her as an actress for
Is she
that.
actually gonna go crazy and develop?
Well,
personality.
it was hard. Season 1 was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard on it was hard on her. It was hard on us. It was a lot of long hours, and
We have a really good supporting cast that we're going to lean on a little more.
I think that's the thing. Now that we sort of set up the world and we have some cool support. Our supporting cast is. We want to develop some of those storylines a little bit more. Give her a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Do you think
You know,
it's
much
easier
as we
now
all
that
love
you know
to
the
listen-
public's behind? I mean, making this, you had no idea if we'd watch or if anybody would. So putting all that hard work into something you don't even know is going to pay off. Do you feel like you can open up a little bit more now that you know the public is embracing it?
A little bit, but it is a clone show. Like
Well, it's
you know,
hard
never
because
gonna never get
Sci-fi.
that's it.
and it's we're trying to make some side storylines that we're excited about, but it's tough because we all just want to look at clones, right? We just all want to watch her.
I
So
think it's probably not too much of a season 2 spoiler to say we love Mrs. S.
Yes.
yeah, Maria's
And
awesome.
Maria she's a great actor and really fun to work with. So
Yeah.
she's got some
Some
secrets.
surprises.
She's got some.
Yes, that was set up
I
really
was
well.
wondering if the
Yeah.
other actors were like, oh, we'd like some screen time. She's on 5 of her in every scene. Come on.
Guys, do your schedules. 2 more questions.
So, speaking of supporting characters, Felix, obviously everybody
Yeah.
loves Felix.
Yes.
And he's gone from just being Sarah's support group to kind of being the rock for all the clones.
Yeah.
Now, was that intentional from the beginning, or was that something that Jordan brought to the character and sort of developed?
Well, we knew we were going to put him and Allison together, but they were magic.
That was that's that
They're-
episode 9 that
Hilarious. They're
episode
amazing.
9 is so good, right?
Yeah.
Felix and Allison is a fantastic.
Yeah,
sequence.
you really got to hand them credit. They have great chemistry, and that chemistry began. I mean, one of the things that really locked the roles for both of them was a chemistry read in the audition process where we put those two together. And we could see it then. We could see that they had this great bond. and this great sibling rivalry. And John's always said, Felix is the sister and Sarah's the brother. And I totally behind Sarah because I'm an older brother, so I know what it's like to stick your foot in someone's face. And Tat's an older sister. She's the oldest too, so that dynamic was really fun there. And just the way that they could take that relationship, twist it to Allison and Felix, and for Felix to just to embrace it.
But it's fun to see Felix with the other girls too, right? And I think that one relationship that we want to develop a little bit more in season 2 is Felix and Cosima.
I'd love to see that get stoned.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's kind of, so that's definitely because Cosima's now in town, so you know we. The last we saw her, she was kind of at Felix's loft, and we kind of like that vibe a little bit. So we'd like to see those two play together a bit.
Their back cave.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
Last one. So who's your favorite clone? You know someone's gonna ask it, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, my favorite clone has always been Allison, mainly because I think for me, I wanted to make sure, like for me, tonally, the show, I wanted it to be funny. Like I wanted to know that I was, you know, you're gonna make a clone show. For the love of God, don't take it too seriously. You'll just sink like a rock. You gotta, like, if you're gonna make a clone show, let's have fun with the fact that we're making, and that Allison as a character was sort of, to me, in my mind, modeled a bit after my sister.
How does
dear.
she feel about that?
I don't know if she knows that.
She will
Well,
say
now say hi to your sister.
I get emails from her all the
Anyway,
time.
so the thing about Allison is that we always just laugh all day long shooting that character, right? All day long. So that's one of the best things about her. Who's your favorite clone?
My favorite clone is Cosima. I just think she's, you know, you never get to see a good hippie on TV. And like she's the funky. I think she's from Berkeley. She's like West Coast. She is like the funkiest kind of hippie chick out there. You know, she's the new hippie. She's a rave hippie. Right? I'm from Vancouver, from the West Coast. I know those people. I love them, and I date them.
I just wanted to make a clone that you could date.
Right.
But the you know, and the like the base of that character, and this is why she's my favorite character, is that our science advisor on the show, Cosima Herter, is an old friend of mine, and from the very beginning when we started talking about human cloning, I would talk to her, and she's like brilliant, really brilliant. She's now doing her PhD in the history of science at University of Minnesota. Where else? So she comes 2-3 times a season, sits down with the writers, and we could throw science at her, and she's,
And with the actors.
and with the
She
actors,
sat down
the
with
whole
the
crew.
actors, too.
She gave Cloning 101 lessons, and
She was at a rap party, like she's part of our crew, basically.
so and when it came down to that you know, time where the character had been called Cosima throughout, I was like, okay, we're actually making this. Do you want me to change the character name? She says, don't you dare. It's like my postmodern moment. Like you have to like go through with it.
Yeah.
And this check this out.
I love it.
This is, we have all these great fans, and so this was a bit of fan art, and I was like, I want a cool T-shirt before we go to Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Can we get